Unnusakut tunga sewitsi galata katola mutilogo. Iva Michael junga. Nanormutti kirartau laortilluguit nugiartau johartamina tausermik natsertu corporation kut nuhauserhartuti inuyunnertamini ulluni ullumi maqqu nanautikirartamini nugiartaulluni ilangatta natsertu corporation kut iqqinayartinga tauvani war site ngunerartaujumi Brevoort Island me taana qigirtaaluk taunani qigirtaalu kinganittuq qigirtaalu kanannerpasiani natsertuq iqqinayartingit upagutuyiminiin ammaluqukirsilluti atauserminanerming taakku isimagayaulluti ilangit taakku natsertukkut qanuittoqallarinnermanga naluneerilaungittut tuavernertaluqiyikkut ikualayimi qamittitsigиartugiarralilaortui nuqqangaviuvattuni nunasiutinu iqaluit ilangata imi qalappi taas qanigiyangani pingatsiutillugu unnukkut sitaman qatteqiyiit ammalu angajoqqaanga qatteqiyikkut upagutiyimini ikittummut tauvani chart room qanigiyangani ammalu palisikku tauvaniigillutit naimungiluagalaatillugu unnukkut maqu nunasiuti taakkua uqauseqayaulluti nunalipauyakkut uqarningannut taakkua pituqaujiminiugiangit nunguttutik qamittu ikualajumut qamitauggasuartaminiulluni 45 minutes ning qanu ikiaullallernermangaanalu giyaulluni qaavisartaujuma palisikkunnut ammalu aanertoqa Reanga uqausiussimajoqanngittuq kinakkunnullu nunasiutinammineriyaamata qaujimayaungittut amissut aqqaagut parna laortillugit ammalu katimatitseqartatillugit tamanna uummaqqutileриnermunnu taangukkannerunnertut atortaunnerivattanga tauvani guulunniarpiujimmi Nunavut qitermiuni taakua kampanigijauit B2 Gold iqqinayaqarsimayutaikani Back River uyaranniarpingani guulunniarpimmi 400 kilometers ungasinneqartuq iqaluttuutsia nigerpasiani kanatau gavamakkunguta ministringa inuleriituqakkun angirnilaortuq iqqinayaanguniartummi ammalu qitermi inikkatatseqatigiingit uqartutinamanda tusaruminariangani
you can improve
Makiumatsutiksanut pivaatlertitiyunnartutit ujararniarviktaqarniaruni ukiurtartumi orsu akitungmat qangatassuukku aktartauqattarniarutik ammalu uummaqqutinik akinginnit akikligiartittik pata makiumatsutiksamut ikayuutittiaqayartoq tuklinga ikayuutiqarayarmiyoq soqortittingippaallerajarmingmat ingeqqatsutit atuqtaunginnersaulerutik pitsutigillugu atunginnersaulerayarmata ursumit ammalu attarnangippaallilerayarluni ursumit kuviyoqanginnersau qattalerayarmat
Taman uummaqqutileriniujoq ilaqarniarnerartauluni 13 nik pautilinnik uummaqqutini nukkitsautitsauyunik ammalu seqinnermik nukkitsautitsaugujartuni paataliqpiugayartamillit saqqiigutaunayartuq B2 Gold kut uqartuti tamannasurunarneriyanga nunguppaali yuminnerartauluni 50% mink tisamanunavummiutaita kuatuniausamalerimmiyuit ilisaqayaututiuyumi Daniel Moore ilinneerakkannerutitsanuqutsinersamun Haley arnartuaq saneqayarmiuk Candy ilavattun ila ivaluttarnaaq nauyaamiuk Ora Kwan ammalu Kara Campbell tamakiqalunnimiutaujuut niruartausimayuit taakutuniauneartutik ikayutitsamani ilinneerakkannerutitsanginnut tapaneeqqaaguiattanni pingayugiyaulertun taaku amisuunerpaangulluti pinasualoortuit taimangani saqqitauloorsnimamman pinguaq katutiqatigiingat aulati makigayanga Ryan Oliver ukhalaqtu tako Daniel khatangutigi ikayirni khalaqtu ikatameri galanik na kopinaswa rutiu yu khimiqwata utilugit nirwaqtuti naamatuni tuniyauniartunik na koturaga khaluanguartuit more kuviagillari hattalaqtangi qawisarnimu ilinniarniq qaritauyalernermus sanayiunermut sananguartiunermut naasauserinermut ammul ilisainermut
pikkurilaortunga atuutiligaangma ilinniaraa tannu isimarugiaqadjaanginnamma taana akileraaqartara ilinniarniartannu pikkurilaortara
taako pinasuarutiuyit aqqaugumut atertitsamaanguyut saqqitaulaartuit May upbaluni jungulqa 2025 moikayerniqaqattalaortu saqqi tuni tamakkuning ilinniarutitsamanik pinguaq iqaluit makerspace nganni inuyunnilaorsimayoq qangatayuumi piqquluaqiyoqartillugu 2019 mi Nunavut gamamakungit tema piyumi saarut niksaqqisimalermiyui iniinnut nammineqartunun taakkuning ikayertiunayartui nammineqartiuyunun pulaqartulerinermut nammineqartinut tamaani Nunavummi tamanni pilirianguvattuq atuinnaatitsivattuq ilinniatitsiyugayartunik ikayertiugayartuni tallimani innunnik pulaqartulerinermut nammineqartunun ammalu taqqinu pingasuujortunu atortauluni ikayerniarnerartauluni pivaallerutauluni piyunnarneriyaminnik ammalu angilligiartitsigunnernermik nammineriyaminnik nali erlu taani tukimortitsigiyaujuq nunalinnu aulatsiyuunermut nunavukammakkunnut uqartuni tamakkua ilinniartuit ayunginneriyaminni pivaallerutiginniartangint uqartuni
uvalun ila parnautileornermik qanuiluurutigineartaminnilluuni sivuniksamut parneeqatiginnermut taanna inu tigumearteqarluti qarasauutigut inuqatiginikkullunni nangmineqarasuktoq isumataarasuktorlunni nangmineqarasunnermut pulaqattulerinermut
kuikayerniqarniarniqarigillugu nammineqartuit upalanguayainermut sivuni riniartatinnut killiqartitauluni pinasuaramuyunut August 26 taakuilinniartimaanna iqqinayaatsani qiniqarterneriangit pituinnaunginnerartuui tappani aujaq kanatami iqqinajartuleqiyikkut naasertausimaneriangit July-mut saqqitauqqaamatu ammalukiinauyaleriyit tamakkua qartutit pinasuarutiissimayuit inuisaluarianginni tusaqamanatsiaqani CBC-kut Sarah Leonardis tamatimangiuqausseqarniartu asinginnillu unikkaatsani pivalaayutigu unnu
ilinniartinik pilertiteqattarni appariarsimayor 7%-imik aqqaaninin kanadamooqataarnikkuit aktortausimammayuus sanajaksaqatianginnermut saqqitauvaktunik pileringinneriangi quvvarsimayu 3.1%-inik 12.6%-inut July-ngulortumi kiinaulestarutini 2,800 pileriat annaajaulortu July-ngutillugu kiinaujaksautilernermik nalautaartiit neriulauqaluartillugit pileriaksaqakkannerayarninganing Quebec miunigerpasaani maqortuarsimayoq nuqqartuuminiaqasugiyaugaluarsuni unnuaruqpakisiani unnu maqugialertavineq Montreal miutupapalliaqaujut ulinneqalersimatillugu taanmuortillugu ullaa 16-80 millimeters nut maqunneqarsimammat nuqqalaunganningani nunaliit ilangit 120 millimeters nik maqunniaqasugiyaujut anuerjoadabi pijutauneqartaujo Kanadamiu pinguarvijoartuni ullumi ullorjoartuni saalaksaqaujut Kanadamiu guulutaaqaujut tikiuteqaaraartituinarsutiin angutiisitamaunartersuti ullorjoartillugit saalaqarniarasugiyaulaungittun Ullumin kanniqauyu ullaujuartuni arnait 7 giyaulutik pianiqauyun. Pivalleuni takuga kanniqumaguvit qaritauimorlutid cbc.ca/northmon.
Tamasila uqanuinne qayangaqauyugaalamnittinni ajiliortausimayusseqqiyaakainernialermimmat mainakuuniluuseqikkertertiarmiut aulatitsigundalartuq nakormituyuigundalauravi maina taimajjequtеқарнерuvit ajiliorsimayannik takutsaoquyannigalaakkutigun aulatiitsivitsaavattugut inqarnaartaut tuqaarutinga CBC North @cbc.ca nammatsigudjaukainarmagisila qanuinneqiyangaaqanuinneqilaartangalu nunatsinni taimigalaanoqavitsanga tikittareerivoq iqqailitsiigumavugut tautuppattani CBC Igalaaqmik qaritauyakkut saqqiya tutauvattuq tuqaaqutiga cbc.ca/north ammala CBC Jamp-kutigut amma YouTube-kut nakormitautoqataartusi nakormi Cameron Lane ajilioriivunnu tappani pinasuarusitsinni Iva Michael yung ilaw na si unukatsena kasi pinaswa ko siya nung nga kanoy ako nangiti ko lang tabawis eh.
We carry a world of information in our pockets because we want to know. Breaking news that shapes your world.
All right.
Reporting from the scene onto your screens.
Dropping the 8 now. We are just approaching Gaza.
With local CBC Radio 1 Live to connect us closer to home. It's news you can trust, delivered when you want, where you want. On the CBC News app. Download for free.
What do I like? I like open fires. Moonlit nights, chatty letters, rainy days. I like daydreaming. I love this colorful little island of ruby, emerald, and sapphire. Yet often my dark moods come. I'm possessed body and soul by this depression. They say women shouldn't write. Some days I almost give up. But I cannot contain my imagination. I made Anne real. I gave her my love of nature, my love of books, and my childhood dreams. My greatest happiness would be to climb the alpine path and write upon it a woman's humble name.
Lucy Maud Montgomery battled depression, rejection, and sexism to become known around the world for Anne of Green Gables and 19 other novels.
Good evening. Welcome to Northbeat. I'm Megan Roberts. A worker in Nunavut has been killed by a polar bear attack that involved 2 bears. The person worked for Nunavut Corporation, a company that provides logistics in the Canadian Arctic. The incident happened yesterday at the company's site on Brevard Island, Nunavut, which is off the east coast of southern Baffin Island. Nunavut says 2 polar bears attacked one of its employees. The company confirmed the death of the employee due to the attack, but did not provide any other details. The person's identity has not been released. Nunavut says other employees responded to the scene and killed one of the bears. Water discharged from Victoria Gold's treatment plant last week likely killed fish in a nearby creek, and tonight we know how many. Haggart Creek is near the company's Eagle Gold Mine in central Yukon. The heap leach there failed in late June. The company has been trying ever since to contain and treat cyanide-contaminated water. Jackie Hong has the details.
Government officials say Victoria Gold workers found 68 dead Arctic grayling and sculpin in the creek last week. That was after the company began discharging water from the water treatment plant into the creek. Water samples taken around that time had cyanide concentrations several times higher than the previous week and were well above guidelines for the protection of aquatic life. Cyanide can quickly kill fish, but is also being diluted in the moving water and naturally breaks down. Officials say it's too early to tell if there will be a wider impact.
And the hope is the way it degrades and sort of dilution of it, this will be an isolated incident within that watershed. How far it spreads through that watershed, we're still working to figure out.
No one at today's update could say why Victoria Gold discharged the water or if it knew that the cyanide concentration in that water was well above guidelines. The company stopped discharging the water after workers found the dead fish, and no dead fish have been found since then. Fisheries and Oceans Canada has ordered the company to implement a number of mitigation measures. They include building barriers to prevent fish from entering affected areas and moving remaining fish in those areas out of it. The company collected and froze the dead fish found last Friday, but they haven't been sent for testing or analysis yet. Jackie Hong, CBC News, Whitehorse.
CN Rail says it plans to officially end its rail service in the Northwest Territories between Enterprise and Hay River. That cuts off what territorial officials say is a key logistical section of the railway line, and it could further complicate the efforts to resupply rural NWT communities. The CBC's Nadir Hashmi reports.
And it has a tremendous effect on really some of the most vulnerable Indigenous communities in the north.
CN Rail has decided not to rebuild a critical 30 kilometers of railway that got damaged in last year's wildfires, as the repair costs were too high for the demand in the region. Wozniak says it's part of a rail and barge corridor that supplies essential goods to rural communities up the Mackenzie Valley and Inuit communities of the high Arctic.
And without this, by forcing communities, our government, community governments, to be finding alternatives, it increases costs into communities that are already paying extremely high costs for fuel.
An enterprise-based business owner of a transloading site disagrees with the government's impact prediction.
You know, as we build more highways, and we need to get Mackenzie Highway moving forward and getting it all the way up to Inuvik. And as you develop it, you're getting less and less dependent on the waterways. And you know, this year is a good example, as the water levels were all dropped. I don't think that's something that's going to be uncommon going forward. So there's less and less demand to be put on to barging.
CN Rail says the decision to operate out of Enterprise instead was taken after thoughtful engagement with the public, but they declined to give any details about who they consulted that supported this decision. Wozniak says this move will create logistical challenges, including reduced efficiency, fuel quality issues, and spill risks. Nadir Hashmi, CBC News, Yellowknife.
A home in Hay River has been destroyed by fire. The building was completely engulfed in flames this morning. This photo from the town of Hay River shows just how intense the fire was and what crews were up against. Eventually, they were able to douse the flames. They remained on site, spraying the smoldering wreckage throughout the morning. RCMP say the fire is under investigation. It's a question residents of Dawson City, Yukon have been asking for years. Are the empty buildings in town heritage buildings or just decrepit? One building in particular has residents demanding action. It was the town's former post office. At one point, it also housed a local radio station. Now, the abandoned building casts a shadow over the Robert Service School. Residents say this building and others around town are becoming eyesores and, in some cases, safety hazards. They're calling on Dawson City to enforce its property maintenance bylaw. Dawson's mayor says it's a shame to see buildings that were once vibrant fall into disrepair. He says the city will be reviewing its official community plan over the next year. That includes the town's zoning bylaws and heritage management plan.
So it is an opportunity for the residents of our town to weigh in and, try to come up with a way to stick handle the issues of decrepit or derelict buildings and their potential or their lack of potential, so that, for the sake of safety or for the sake of housing opportunities or commercial opportunities, the town can move on.
In the meantime, the town says action is underway on some properties of concern. CBC News tried to contact the building's owner, but he was unavailable for comment. The future of the Ruth Inch Memorial Pool building in Yellowknife remains uncertain. When the city's new aquatic center opens in a few months, the old pool will be decommissioned. The CBC's Rowan Fleary has more.
After 3 decades, Ruth Inch Memorial Pool will be repurposed. It was Yellowknife's only indoor public swimming venue. The question remains, what will the space be used for? Garrett Cochran is the deputy mayor of Yellowknife. He says there's a few ideas floating around.
There's a variety of options, some ranging from, as I talked about in the election, putting the old library here. I would like to see it as put into a multi-use space, so not only having the library. Love to see a skate park in here as well, maybe an art space.
Another option, Cochran says, the city might sell it to someone else.
Just being that this is an incredibly expensive asset to retain, whether or not we want to sell it.
Aislinn Sterling Crosby is a co-owner of Overlander Sports. She welcomes the idea of a multi-use space, but wants to know where the money will come from in the end.
I've heard some neat ideas like a skate park or an art gallery. Both sound fantastic and I'm sure would make great additions to the community, but I'm also conscientious about who would be paying for that and what can our tax base afford at the moment.
The city of Yellowknife is in the process of assessing the old pool. The city manager says he's expecting the results by next week.
Right now it's early days. We've retained a technical consultant to give us some advice on how to maintain the building in good standing, to have it available for some other purpose at some point.
The city hired Stantec a year ago to assess the building's condition for future use. According to the city's contracting database, the review cost the city nearly $125,000. Van Dyne says the city is also looking at how to involve Yellowknifers in deciding what to do with the aged pool. The Ruth Inch Memorial Pool will remain open until the city's new aquatic center is completed. The new pool is expected to be ready in December. Rowan Fleary, CBC News, Yellowknife.
Tonight marks the start of the Gateway Jamboree in Enterprise NWT. It's the Jamboree's 25th year, and it's also 1 year since a wildfire devastated the South Slave community. For some, it's too soon to be celebrating, but others feel it's a good time to get together, reunite, and make new memories.
There was some talk about, is it the right time? It's the 25th year. It's important to people outside of Enterprise, I understand that, and it's also, I think, important to the residents, or some of the residents, just to bring together people for family and friendship, to be able to get together for one weekend and kind of put what happened in Enterprise in your back pocket. It's not going to go away. It's still going to be there, but if we can put it in our back pocket for a weekend and just be able to visit and get comfort from people outside of our community, I think that's important.
The Jamboree kicks off tonight with the beer garden and music. Over the weekend, there are workshops, vendors, and family games. In Yellowknife, the whiskers were groomed, the claws clipped, and the cats ready to strut their stuff. In honor of National Cat Day yesterday, Yellowknife hosted its first ever annual cat show. We went down to check out what makes these animals so award-worthy.
This competition is not for the faint of heart.
So we just hosted Northern Mosaic Network's first annual cat show, and we just wanted to celebrate International Cat Day and celebrate our Summer of Pride. So I judged the cats against 5 predetermined criteria. They were uniqueness, so any unusual markings. One of our winners only had one eye, so she scored a full 10 points in that category. I've never seen a one-eyed cat before. Beauty and overall appearance. We have their disposition. Were they easy to handle? Were they maybe a little less easy to handle? And we have their show presence. How did the audience react to this cat?
I have my cat Cheddar. He is an orange tabby that got adopted from the SPCA 3 years ago. He's a big boy, but he's really friendly. He was super interested in the competition. He's been looking forward to it for a long time. It's his first show, so we've been practicing. No, we haven't been practicing, but he's known by the neighborhood because we go for walks in the morning and at night. He hangs out in the hallway at my building, and so he knows all the neighbors and their cats, so he just thought he'd expand his horizons a little bit.
Give it up for Cheddar.
My name is Zoe, and this is my cat, Callie, the pirate kitty. She's actually a rescue from the streets of Asia, and to be honest, I didn't expect to get her, but she is the best thing that's ever happened to me. So yeah, very fortunate, very lucky. Someone actually poked a stick in her eye when she was living on the streets in Asia. Yeah, so, but now here she is. Brought her back here, living her best life as a Canadian.
I wouldn't be surprised if I saw him riding on a Harley later.
I'm feeling so proud of my son, Merle, who's been with me for 8 years from Fort Smith. He won the cat costume competition, and I always knew that he was fashionable, but now, you know, we've reached new heights. He's an adventurous boy. He cruises the streets of Yellowknife, and he's very well known across the north. I think he's gonna go home to his toddler brother and probably snuggle up to his baby brother.
Clearly, all of those cats are winners, and also a winner, and a special shout out to the cat handler, the cat herder that was helping out at that event. That is not an easy job. That is Northbeat for tonight. For news anytime, go to cbc.ca/north. We will be back to our normal time next week. That is 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain, and 5 p.m. Yukon time. Thank you for watching. I'm Megan Roberts. Have a great weekend.